Hello, Cardinals. We're going to talk about the lesson 2 reflection today. Our topic is our focus question is how do different surfaces on Earth warm and cool? This is bringing the entire lesson together at the end about heating and cooling of Earth's surface. To start off the class today, we're going to review your graphs, and you're going to look at answers number 5A through 5C, kind of just comparing and contrasting your group's information with the different groups' information, and what would account for those similarities and differences between the graphs. And then we're going to look at objective number 4 and write a little summary about how the graph shows warming and cooling rates. For the lesson 2 reflection today, we're going to relate the findings of the investigation to the warming and cooling of Earth's surface. And we want to review vocabulary today. So the first vocab word that we're going to review is heat. Heat is how much energy there is in a system. Heat causes particles in a system to move faster. So the faster particles move, the more heat there is within that system. There are 3 ways that heat can be transferred. The first is radiation. Radiation is when heat is transferred through electromagnetic radiation such as light. So think about a fire. The heat comes off the fire in waves. The sun heats the earth through radiation. Conduction is the second way that heat's transferred. That is when heat's transferred by direct contact. So you have the example here of hot sand and your feet. And then you also have the example of a pan when it's on the stove and how the handle gets hot and you don't want to touch it. The last way that heat can be transferred is convection. Convection is when heat is transferred by movement of gases or liquids. So when objects move, here you have a radiator. And what radiators do is they heat up the air around the radiator, and then the hot air rises. And then as that air cools, it comes back down again, and it creates a convection current. And that also happens whenever you heat a liquid on the stove. So you might have seen this if you're making mac and cheese. The hot water will come to the top, and then as it cools, it goes back down and it makes these circular motions. So here are 3 more pictures that kind of sums up radiation, conduction, and convection. If you're a visual learner, you might want to draw these in your notebook. But on the left, it shows someone sitting in front of the fireplace. That's radiation. Conduction would be you touching the fireplace and, ouch, my hand hurts. And then finally, convection is using ceiling fans to help move the warm air down and the cold air up. Vocab word temperature. Temperature is a measurement of kinetic energy in the particles. The more energy, the higher the temperature. And there are 3 different units to measure temperature. The first is degrees Fahrenheit. That's what you're used to. Degrees Celsius is what we did for our lab. And then finally, Kelvin. Kelvin's one. So if you look to the right here, it shows you how the different numbers would be equal. So freezing point that you're used to is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Freezing point for Celsius is 0. And then freezing point for Kelvin is 273. So just a different scale, different ways to measure temperature. Today for your reflection, you're going to be reading Extending Your Knowledge, the Source of Earth's Heat. You're going to add these terms to your vocab page: solar energy, atmosphere, greenhouse gases, greenhouse effect, and equinoxes. And as you read the article, you should code it. Then you're going to meet with your group and discuss these questions 2A through 2G. And then you're going to read Extending Your Knowledge, How Scientists Study Earth. And you're going to add these terms to your vocab page: atmospheric scientists and oceanographer. Finally, you will revisit the KWL chart that we started in lesson 1. Your teacher will hopefully push that out to you through Google Classroom, and you will be keeping this electronic document. You'd be updating your Ks. If there's anything incorrect, you can cross it out and correct it. Your Ws, maybe you can answer a few of those now. And then finally, what you've learned, you can make a giant list of that in the L column. So bringing it all together, you have 4 steps to your reflection today. You do have some vocabulary to add to your notebook, and you might want to double check your vocabulary that you've done in the past. And of course, you have an exit slip. Good luck today, Cardinals.